Hey, here's a fun game you can play at home while you listen to The Ron Van Dam Show. Do a shot of your favorite alcohol every time Ron sighs or makes a grumpy sound. No, hold on, I'm kidding. Please don't do that. You will die from alcohol poisoning. You are listening to The Ron Van Dam Show on New England Broadcasting.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's the Ron Van Dam Show.
Hello, how are you?
Hold on tight, things can get a bit weird, if you like that sort of thing.
Hey, welcome to the Ron Van Dam Show. I am Ron Van Dam in person. We're America's #1 sports talk show where we don't talk sports at all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please hold your applause to the end of the show. Thank you. Oh, please sit down. Oh, a standing ovation? That's really, thank you. I'm so embarrassed. Please sit down. You're taking up space. Thank you. Welcome to the show. How are you? If you're as happy to be here as I am, now we have something in common. And I mean that sarcastically. So this is going to be fun. Today's show is a different kind of thing. I wanted to talk about retail, and I don't know why. We're coming up upon the biggest shopping season of the year, which of course is Flag Day. When is Flag Day? But what the hell is that? You know, there is a Flag Day. I don't know when it is. I don't know the difference between Flag Day, Independence Day, and Memorial Day because they're all flaggy. So I'm not sure. But there is a Flag Day. I'm not going to Google it. I refuse to Google things like that. I always figure that on the other end of the machine, there are people who are watching what you're Googling and making fun of you accordingly. Hey, this guy, he actually Googled Flag Day. Get out of here. Who did that? Ron Van Dam. Oh, my God. What a moron. Sorry, moron is not proper. People don't like the word moron, so I apologize profusely for those whom I have offended in some outrageous manner. Yeah, I don't Google. I don't know. I got to say this quietly. I actually have to say this quietly. I have to cup my hands over the microphone. I have Alexa in every room of my house. And in my bedroom, she's actually in the closet. See? No, Alexa, stop. Stop, Alexa, stop. God. You know, I treat her like a dog. That's what I say to my dog. Alexa, stop. Stop. Put that down. Alexa, stop. she's like some kind of a wild domestic beast. I don't know if she's listening to everything I say or just picking up on the words that are a little bit fascinating for her in a kinky manner. I don't know. I don't mind how there's nothing that I do or say that can indict me, so I don't really care. You know, it's not like I'm planning a murder and she overhears me. So, because I don't do those things. Do you know why I don't plan murders? They're just so complicated, and I have to get up off the couch to do it. So I don't bother. Besides, I have love in my heart, not anger. I have love in my heart. Any anger that I have is directed at inanimate objects. So, I don't know. I'm a loving man. I wish everybody on the planet was loving, but they're not. Everybody on the planet has hidden anger issues. Have you noticed that? People can be so sweet. Hi, would you like a piece of pie? Come on into my house. Anything in my house is yours. Anything in the refrigerator is yours. Anything in my jewelry cabinet is yours. Anything on my body is yours. They're so sweet. But then if you actually get them into a deep conversation, they are seething anger because they've been holding it inside. I don't have an angry bone in my body. Oh, really? I think all your bones are angry. I think you're hiding your bones. Oh, no. I'm full of love. Until you cross me, bitch, then I will destroy you. I'll pick you apart, limb by limb. They say it in such a obviously, I'm using a Southern accent here, and not on purpose. It's just I like to do it. They are so sweet in their words, but yet what they say is so caustic. I love everybody, but if you cross me, I'm afraid I'm going to have to take parts of your body and sling them over my shoulder and throw them off a cliff and create some type of incredible pain that you'll never, ever get over. And you'll beg me to stop. Yes, but I'm full of love. Yeah, there's no anger in their voice, but in their actions, it sounds pretty awful. I am waiting for, I've said this so many times before, because I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. And a lot of people say, what the hell are you talking about? They're the same thing. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. My being is peaceful. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm waiting for someone to come down from the top of the mountain, maybe someone who climbed Mount Everest and has lost all their pickaxes, come down from the top of the mountain and spread love amongst all. But that doesn't happen, because if someone came down from the mountain with love and some wise savior came down from, by the way, if you're a savior, you have to wear sandals. I think that's part of it. You come down from the mountain with love and understanding and you spread peace among the earth. That's impossible, because whoever came down from the mountain, people are going to ridicule them. Oh, yeah. Oh, spending your time on top of the mountain? Where were you last week? So no, that doesn't happen. And, I love Christians. I really do, especially people named Christian. I know somebody his first name is Christian, and I'm thinking, is it necessary to wear that on your shoulder so much? I mean, I've never met a guy named Jew, so I don't understand naming somebody Christian. When I was younger, I worked in a movie theater as an usher. I'm not proud, I'm just saying. And there was another guy who was an usher, a really nice guy. He was from some country in South America. I don't know which, because back then they all seemed the same to me. All the countries. But his name was Jesus. And I thought, okay, nice name. And then I saw it spelled out. And Jesus is Jesus. That's how you pronounce Jesus, where he comes from. So someone named him Jesus. And I thought, well, I mean, okay. I thought that was only like set aside for the Son of God, not just somebody who came from South America. But, I mean, and I didn't think he was a prophet in any way, because I never made any money off of him. So I don't know, but his name was Jesus, and I thought, okay, so now you got Jesus, you got Christian. I mean, like, okay, I got Chris. So I don't understand. There are people named Mohammed. Oh, wow, what a nice thing to call somebody. I mean, like, oh, that's like wow. Oh, I forgot what show I'm doing. I don't even know what I'm talking about today. Man, I have jumped subjects more than somebody who doesn't jump subjects. Anyway, I was going to talk about retail, and I got off on a Flag Day somehow. Seriously? And went astray. Went ashtray on you. Astray and ashtray are spelled so close to each other that one of them has to change their spelling or their word. That's just way too close. I've led you astray. You've led me an ashtray? I don't understand. Oh, they're so close in their composition. Can you believe in this country? Can you believe for the longest time the government of this United States of America, as wonderful as they are, were actually handing out cigarettes to soldiers and thought smoking was a way of calming the nerves? Cigarettes were like the number one produced manufactured item in like the world, but also in this country. I mean, entire states in this country were like tobacco states. There were like tobacco farms all over the place, and everybody smoked. My parents didn't smoke. Really. Everybody smoked, but I mean, almost everybody smoked, but some people didn't smoke really. My parents were very, very social. They had all the diseases. And I remember in the living room, my parents never smoked, really. But in the living room, there was a cigarette box. I mean, that's unheard of these days. I believe certain generations here, Generation X and P and W, they don't even know what a cigarette box is. Isn't that like a carton of cigarettes, Ron? No, it was a cigarette container box that would be on a coffee table. Coffee table? Yeah, coffee table in front of the couch. And it was a box that was rather ornate, had little pearls on it or squiggly gold lines around it. And inside this box, which was not all that tightly sealed, were cigarettes piled up inside the box. And when company came over, they would sit on the couch and they would be offered a cigarette. Not a drink, a cigarette. And you would flip open the box and the guest would put their hand in the box and take a cigarette out, put it in their mouths, and there were cigarette lighters all over the place. Not the Bics, not the Bics, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about ornate pieces of cigarette lighters. They were actually like ornate things, coffee table items. They were big and oval and ornate. And everybody smoked, especially in social situations, but always. Kids were told, don't smoke, but all the adults smoked. Kids were told, don't drink, but all the adults were drinking. It wasn't easy to raise your children back then because you weren't supposed to do anything that they did in front of you all the time. It was different than sex. Because sex you did behind closed doors. Even if you were doing it by yourself, if you know what I mean. People didn't have sex out in public. But they smoked in public, and they drank in public, so it was different. It confused kids, and I think that's why there was such a generation of confused children, because they were told that the horrible things in life were the very things that their parents were doing right in front of their face. Yeah, I don't know. So it's no wonder that generations got screwed up. But I marveled at the fact that in this country everybody smoked and the government just, yeah, fine, you know. And then they started putting warnings on cigarette packs. Remember that? You know, started out as very, just a lax warning. You know, smoking cigarettes, if you're pregnant, it's not a good idea. I didn't say if you're pregnant, it's not a good idea. I said that smoking can cause problems if you're pregnant. And then if you have, if your shoes don't fit, smoking is harmful to your health. Yeah, that's it. And it didn't say, like, blanket wise on the side of the cigarette pack. It didn't say smoking will kill you. It never said that. But it was the fact. I smoked for a period of time when I was a young adult. I admit it. And I would just go to the store and I would get a pack of cigarettes, but I would make sure that it didn't say the one about the pregnant thing, because I couldn't become pregnant because I'm a guy. So I figured I'll smoke those packs, the ones that said something about pregnant, because I won't be pregnant. And those are the only packs I would smoke. Oh, God. Yeah, the warning labels worked and didn't work. The only time a warning label worked is if you saw a picture of somebody's lungs after they had smoked for a couple of years, and you saw how their lungs were degrading and actually turning colors. Or if you had a family member who died of lung cancer, you would say, okay, that's a little more pronounced than writing something on the side of a cigarette pack. I think I should stop. But cigarettes were addictive, and they still are. So it wasn't that easy to stop. Now, I stopped cold turkey. What I would do is I would go to the supermarket and I would buy about a pound in the deli section. I buy about a pound of the turkey sliced thin. I liked it sliced thin. And I stopped cold turkey. Every time I wanted a cigarette, I would just have a slice of turkey from the deli. Then I started seeing on the side of the deli packages, it said, caution, deli meats are hazardous to your health. And, oh, boy. Now I got to look through the packs to find the one about pregnancy again. No, I just stopped. And that was it. One of my parents had passed away. Wasn't even from lung cancer. I just realized, oh, okay, this is something that can happen to me for any reason. So I'm just going to make sure that it ain't going to be from cigarettes. And I stopped cold turkey. No more turkey for me. Still smoked, but I stopped turkey. All right, that's enough. You've had enough of me, haven't you? Have you not had enough of me? Have you not had enough of me? I wanted to talk about retail sales today. I never seemed to get there, did I? No. Kind of danced around it. I'll tell you what. I have a guest who's going to talk about retail sales, but not from the standpoint you think. It's not about going out and buying things in stores. It's about people who steal from stores. Have you ever shoplifted before? Have you lifted the entire shop? Have you ever gone into a store and just taken something really small because you were due that? I bought so much stuff from this store. I'm going to stick a little thing and stick it in my pocket. They'll never see me. That's where it starts. It's like smoking. I have one cigarette. Now I'm going to do a pack. Now I got to eat turkey. Yeah? It starts that way. Everything starts with something and builds from it. Everything. Well, I just started doing that, and all of a sudden I'm obsessed with it. That's how everything starts, with small things. I mean, you start, when you're young, sex-wise, you start masturbating, and then before you know it, you're doing it with other people. All right. So my guest today is going to talk about, no, not that. He's going to talk about shoplifting and how retail stores to this day are still dealing with that problem. Even with all the security cameras and all the security measures, we're actually paying for the ones that steal from stores because the stores ain't going to pay for that. It's passed on to the customer. And you'll understand what I'm talking about in just a second. But first we have this commercial word, and then my guest will be joining us. Sounds like fun? Is that a plan? What do you think? Is that good for you? Does it work for you? Fine. But first, this.
Looking for a fun night out? Check out that bar near your house, now featuring live entertainment all weekend. Friday night, it's one guy and a guitar playing 90s cover tunes and original songs about his recent breakup. Catch a dose of classic rock on Saturday nights with that band fronted by that chick you knew in high school who's still pretty hot after a couple drinks. Sunday afternoons, it's three old guys and a hipster doing their very best to play jazz. And don't miss the Big Hot Sunday dance party with your DJ, the bartender's second wife's stepson with those weird things in his ears. It's all happening this weekend at that bar near your house. Not too far to drive, just a little too far to walk. We'll see you there.
Neil Bradley joins us. He's Executive Vice President and Chief Policy Officer, U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for being with us today, Neil.
Thanks for having me on, Ron. It's a pleasure.
We're talking about a national crisis. Everything's a national crisis these days. Organized retail theft. That's something that the public usually doesn't think about, do they?
They don't, but, you turn on any nightly news station, Boston or, anywhere across the United States today, and chances are you're going to see a story about one of these smash and grab jobs at a store or a retailer. I'm in Washington, D.C. We just had coffee shops who had to close because in Union Station, the major rail station, because they couldn't keep their employees safe because of the crime. I mean, in some cases, you're right, we overuse the word crisis, but that may be apt in this case.
Yeah. I do remember nationally hearing news from the Los Angeles area where that was becoming rampant, but kind of thought it was just localized. But what you're saying is this is happening everywhere.
Well, yeah, indeed. So we actually just surveyed small businesses, small retailers from across the country. 56% said they had been a victim of theft in the past year, and 50% said it had gotten worse in the last few years. So it's really it's not just in some big cities or on the West Coast anymore. This is a problem throughout the country, and it has real financial implications. Our friends at the National Retail Federation calculated that for every $1 billion in things that are sold, we lose 700,000 to theft. And that number is up dramatically compared to what it was just a few years ago. And so, of course, it's not just dollars and cents. We have businesses that are closing. We have store clerks who are fearful for their own safety. We got to get control of this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you say the past years, that kind of coincides with the pandemic. And I always said to myself during that period of time, everybody's wearing masks. Like, weren't they wearing masks to rob stores and rob banks? I mean, wasn't that part of the mask thing? How do you know the difference between someone who's, becoming conscious of COVID and someone who's going to rob a store? But that wasn't just for that, was it? I guess it still goes on.
Yeah, let me tell you two other things. I think it started a little bit before pandemic, but that certainly accelerated. Yeah. A couple things happened. Some organized crime rings,
really?
Crime syndicates, basically figured out a couple things. The first thing they figured out was that in the vast majority of states, over the last decade to 20 years, they had updated their laws to increase the threshold on which people would get prosecuted for theft.
Okay.
So, it used to be, $100, you might get prosecuted. Now it's $500. And that it was based on each individual incident. So we have retailers, and I've seen the video of thieves coming into a store. On one hand, they got a shopping list of things they're going to steal. On the other hand, they got a calculator because they know that if they come in under that threshold for prosecution, no one's going to do anything to them. And then they can go next door to another store and do the same thing again. And so we've been calling on states here at the U.S. Chamber to update their laws. The second thing that's happened, and this has been a little bit longer in happening, but when I was growing up, pre-internet, if someone stole something from a store, from a home, and they needed to get rid of it, the place they often took it was a pawn shop. And local governments got together and said, well, we can fix this. We can require pawn shops to just collect, see it, get an ID, know the name and address of a person who comes in to try to unload something.
Right.
And if it turns out it was stolen, we know who did it. We don't do the same thing on the internet. So now you can go on the internet anonymously and unload, your bag full of eyeglass frames that you stole from a store, and no one knows who you are.
Good point. Very good point. Didn't think of that. Good point. Wow.
By the way, we can fix that. There's legislation in Congress, bipartisan.
Good.
You don't hear that word very often these days. But bipartisan legislation that if we can just get it to the president's desk would do the same thing for online platforms that we did for pawn shops back in the 50s.
Neil, why doesn't it get to the president's desk? If it is so bipartisan, why are we still advocating?
Well, I scratch my head about that a lot, too. Part of it's because it's caught up in other bigger pieces of legislation that Congress is wrangling over. So we've been pushing to pull this piece out of that big piece of legislation and take it up standalone. I think if we do that, we can get to the president's desk actually before the end of the year.
Why can't everything be standalone? And that's just playing games when they pack it into other things, trying to sneak it through with other bills. It's a little disgusting sometimes. If everything was standalone, we'd be a lot further along, wouldn't we?
Indeed, we would. That's exactly right.
Yeah. I think we all realize that when a theft occurs, no matter whether a store has insurance or safety precautions or whatever, the price is going to go up even further in order to recoup their losses. Businesses don't just say, "Oh, well, there you go." They raise the prices to recoup. So I think we all have to understand that. I mean, I was questioning, like, with all the security cameras and all the technology, how can anybody even do a smash and grab anymore? But they can.
Well, because if you're not going to get prosecuted, to your point of, and so, and we have some bad local prosecutors in this country who just aren't willing to go after these thieves, and in some ways they're confusing, a person in a desperate situation who, the old traditional swiped diapers off of a store shelf. That's wrong.
Yes.
We should figure out how to avoid that and help those people.
Right.
But they're getting that confused with people who are going in with, lists of things that they're going to steal so they can resell them and make money.
Yeah. That's different. They're not desperate. That's their business.
It's a business model, and it's a criminal ring, and we can do something about it. We've started to see some states update their laws. We're starting to hear. We've been working with prosecutors across the country who are really gearing up and want to fight this. And it's just a shame that we've had to lose so much to be able to draw attention to it to try to get something done.
No question about it. And if you think that, well, okay, we don't need brick and mortar anymore, we've got the internet, we can buy things on the internet, that's scam city, ladies and gentlemen. So you don't want to go there necessarily either. That can cause even more problems. And you've just pointed out, without the regulations on the internet and purchasing there, I mean, you're really putting yourself in trouble. So
you got to be careful what you buy sometimes.
All the time. And you've pointed that out. Okay, now we know the problem. What do we do? How do you need our help?
Well, we really need three things. At the local level, we got to tell prosecutors, do your job, prosecute. At the state level, we're calling on each state to fix the loopholes in their law. Don't allow people to go from one store to another store and reset the threshold. Let's do aggregation, for example. At the federal level, the legislation is called the Inform Act. Inform, just one word. Call your senators, your members of Congress, and tell them, hey, let's solve this problem, pass the Inform Act, let's cut off the avenues for people to sell all of these stolen goods.
Excellent.
Those are the three things we can do,
okay.
And at all levels of government, they all have a role to play, and if we did those three things, we wouldn't be talking about this in 6 months.
All righty. Hey, Neil, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me on, Ron. I hope folks will go to uschamber.com if they want to learn more.
Well, that'll do it for me today. You've been wonderful as usual. And thank you to my guest for being here as well. I'm very excited. I ordered something from Amazon. I don't remember what it was, but I know it's coming today. So actually what I did was I kind of gave myself a gift, and then because I'm getting older, I forgot what I ordered. So it's going to be a great surprise. That's probably the only good thing about getting older and starting to lose your brain cells is you're surprised by things that you forgot you actually set up for yourself. I forgot I did that. That's nice. Okay, I did do that. Well, that's wonderful. Did that ever happen to you? You're sitting in your car driving around and you say, I got to get home and I gotta make that phone call, man. I said I would call that person and then you get home and you realize, I already did. I called them yesterday. I don't have to do that now. Yeah, does that happen to you? No? Oh, okay. Never mind. I'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new show, but until then, I wish you peace.